fundsupermart.com.
Hi everyone. The price of agricultural products has seen a huge growth year to date due to a plunge of harvest in the US during the period. Is the growth sustainable? Today we have Skye, the portfolio manager at First Day Investments, to share her view. Hello Skye, thanks for joining us. Why should investors consider investing in an agribusiness fund, and what makes the investment so attractive?
I think the agribusiness fund is quite attractive because the demand growth for agricultural commodities is being underpinned by population growth and growing or improving incomes in developing nations. A significant investment needs to be made into the agricultural industry in order to improve productivity and efficiency because we have a limited land and water resource base. So what this fund does is give investors exposure to volume growth in the industry. I think it's also quite a nice way to diversify your emerging markets exposure because essentially demand for food is being driven by growing incomes in developing economies.
What are the growth drivers for agribusiness in the rest of the year and in the next 3 to 5 years?
The sector is currently being underpinned by very tight global grain inventories, and this is keeping soft commodity prices higher than their historical averages. And this is a very positive environment for farmer balance sheets and also for companies that are providing inputs into the agricultural sector. Over the longer term, what's driving agricultural equities is ongoing wage growth in emerging economies such as Brazil, Indonesia, Russia and India. The FAO has been forecasting that we'll need to grow agricultural production by 70% between 2007 and 2050. And as I mentioned earlier, significant investment needs to be made into the industry in order to improve productivity. And with that backdrop, we think it's a very positive environment for agricultural equities and the growth of those companies' earnings.
The Dow Jones UBS Commodity Index has seen a huge growth year to date, and in particular, the price of grain surged over 40% during the period. So is such growth an organic one, and what are the implications for agribusiness investors?
What's been driving grain prices over the last 6 weeks between June and August 2012 has been the drought that's been occurring in the United States, and that's had significant implications for our global grain inventories. We already had a tight situation, and the drought in the US is making that even tighter. And so what that means, I believe, is that we're going to see higher commodity prices for longer because it's going to take some time for us to replenish our inventories globally. With that backdrop, I think that's a very positive environment for farmers. They'll be generating some pretty nice revenues, particularly compared to historic averages, and I think that will be positive for agricultural equities, particularly the farming companies themselves and also the companies that supply goods and services to farmers and the agricultural industry.
Which markets are you overweight and underweight, and why?
We're currently overweight companies that are supplying inputs into the agricultural sector like fertilisers and seeds and farm equipment. And the reason behind that is because these higher commodity prices we're seeing today is very positive for those companies' earnings. On the other side, the companies that we're underweight are the food processing companies like protein producers. In the current environment with higher commodity prices, it's a direct input to their businesses, and their margins are currently getting squeezed and in some cases are negative.
What are the risk factors of investing in agribusiness?
Well, the Global Agribusiness Fund does invest in equities, so it is subject to the normal risk factors of investing in global equities. Specific to the agricultural sector, the risks are weather events, which can occur on a yearly basis, as well as changes in government policies and subsidies that can impact the trade flow of agricultural commodities. In terms of the fund and how we try to mitigate those risks, we try to be as diversified as possible. So we try to be diversified by geography, by commodity type, throughout the agricultural chain, as well as by market capitalisation.